Hello everyone, hope all of you are doing well. Today I want to share my observation with regard to Scottish police because while doing part-time jobs, I had a number of opportunities when I worked very closely, or at least I witnessed uh, the working of Scottish police, which are worth learning experiences for me. And then I would like to compare the Scottish police with the police of Pakistan. Scottish police has been is one of the most successful police in the world with regard to policing responsibilities because they are able to control the crime rates in the country. Scottish police is very friendly, very down to earth. The police officers and their staff are very friendly people. I believe it is part of their training that they are very humble and down to earth, very helping all the time. And in case if the crime is reported or the police is called in for action, they are very quick to respond and react whenever the situation arises. That's what I have witnessed over here. For instance, and also they are very humble and down to earth. They are not supposed to dominate or to behave in a manner that is unprofessional with the public. They cannot offend to the public. Secondly, even if they are going to arrest someone, they will just handcuff the person and will take that person to the prison van, but they are not supposed to use any sort of force which may cause injury or damage the person's physical, mental health. For instance, I can share a number of examples. During my initial phase, when I arrived over here in Glasgow, so there were two person who fought each other, and one of the person was bleeding, and at that time I just stopped so that I could witness what was going on. So when the police arrived and they went towards a suspect, and they were asking him that the suspect should be accompanying to the police, but the suspect was uh, not cooperative. So the police tried to force that person that he should be cooperating with the police. And when he was not willing, then the police officers took that person from his hands, and the person was shouting at the police that they cannot force that person, they cannot use the force. So and the person started shouting at the police, you cannot touch me physically, you are not supposed to touch me. And uh, that was quite surprising for me, especially for a person like myself who is coming from third world country, and that the person was shouting at the police that they are not supposed, police officers are not supposed to touch the person physically. I just recalled another incident that once I was at a stadium, so a police official uh, called a troublemaker, a person that just come outside, and someone, I think he was father of that boy. So he asked of the officer, why you take my son? And the officer just said, I just want to have a word with him. And the father of boy um, just stopped the police officer that you cannot take my kid, you cannot take my son away. uh, what he has done. And the police officer was so helpless, he just said, man, don't worry, I'll just have a word with your son and he'll come back, don't worry. And so that's how uh, there was something funny. There was another instance in which there was a kid who was drunk. He was probably 15-16 year old, but he was drunk. So and he was a bit troublemaker inside the stadium. The police just arrested him, and when they were taking him outside the stadium, And at that time the prison van was not available, so they informed their colleagues on walkie-talkie that they should bring the prison van. And while they were waiting for the prison van, they were just talking to their troublemaker, and they were standing in such a way in talking to their troublemaker in such a way it seemed as if they were friends. So they were very calm and quiet, talking to each other. And what happened, there was more funny part for me. So after a while, when the prison van arrived and they handcuffed that troublemaker, 15, 16-year drunk kid, and took him into the prison van. And later on, they just handed him over a small receipt. And when I read that receipt, there was a message that this kid has been convicted of a minor crime. So, and I was so shocked to know that was that the only uh, treatment that was being meted out towards that child who was troublemaker as well as drunk, that they just took him to the prison van, and they just handed him over a receipt that he's convicted. I mean, what is the benefit then? But I must not criticize that, because that is how their system works. There was another instance in which there was a football match between Celtic and Rangers. These are the arch rival teams, and they are very terrible rivals. For instance, there are often fights between their fans, which are talk of the town, that everyone knows that if there is a Celtic and Rangers match, so the fight is possible. So once I was there, so the fight erupted between the fans of Celtic and Rangers, and the and Rangers fans were in minority. So what happened when the match finished, and the police tried to let go to the Celtic fans first, so that they are able to avert any sort of mishap when the fans are just outside the stadium. At that time, uh, I was towards the Rangers side, and the police tried to stop the Rangers fan, and the Rangers fan started shouting at the police, and they made mockery of the police that they were colluding uh, with the Celtic fans, so that the Rangers fans could be uh, harassed and be tortured, and uh, and the police was silent spectator towards the Rangers fans. They did not utter a single word. Even the people used abusive words. That was quite surprising and shocking for me. Uh, but the police just was silent spectator before the Rangers fans, and they were quite in awe. So they just kept listening to the people's abuses that were being hurled at them. And for instance, I recorded also a video just at the same time. I personally believe that police here in Scotland is adequately resourced and adequately financed. That is why uh, they are performing well. Also, the crime rate is low compared to Pakistan. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, our police is under resourced, underfunded. That is why the police and if we compare the challenges faced by the police in Pakistan, they are much bigger challenges that the police of Pakistan has to face. For instance, uh, they will be performing their duties 8, 9, 10 hours of duties, but still they'll be getting meager salaries. And if we see that person population to police ratio is quite higher, quite low, I'm sorry, but here in Scotland it's adequately resourced, and population to police ratio is quite adequate. Uh, that is why police in Pakistan is not performing well. There are genuine reasons. Uh, would need to be provided adequate resources, especially keeping in view the challenges faced by the police, crimes, and the number of terror incidents that are being witnessed in Pakistan. So this is the police station. Imagine the infrastructure of this police station and compare the same with like Pakistan. Few other aspects. For instance, few days earlier, I witnessed when I was working very closely with the Scottish police. Like I was just sitting beside them. So the Scottish police, there was one officer who had 2 stars on his shoulders. He seemed to be a high-ranked officer because we hardly get to see any starred officer. And his juniors, like his subordinates, were quite friendly towards him. He was asking them do this and that, and they were they were quite friendly, speaking like friends. There was no ranking system. It seemed they were on equal terms. So that is also my observation, that the senior juniors are quite friendly towards each other. There's no system of sir and madam over here. They will be very friendly all the time, like they are equals, except to the point that whenever there is a professional responsibility, the senior official would issue orders and that the subordinates have to obey. But otherwise, they will be quite friendly, quite uh, frank towards each other, and they will even name their officers with their first or second name, but not sir. And also when I was just standing beside them, the officials uniform was quite impressive. Like they were wearing an stretchable, that uniform was very stretchable. For instance, if they want to uh, run after the suspect, it was quite comfortable. But in Pakistan, the situation is not different. Police uniform is terrible. Lastly, yes, another interesting fact that I witnessed last time was Scottish police was being provided with when they were performing their job responsibilities at a stadium. Before commencing their assuming their job responsibilities, they were provided with breakfast by the school police department. I mean, that is quite surprising that when they are going for job responsibilities, official responsibilities, they are being provided with breakfast by the department. I mean, which is very not common in Pakistan. And if I take the example of a soldier or a sepoy, so that soldier will be doing his job at 30,000 rupees, 30,000 rupees, which are equal to somewhere around 150 pounds, and 150 pounds I'm earning in just 2 days. Like I'm doing part-time job in twice a week, and I'm earning minimum of 120, 150 pounds, which is the salary of a soldier in Pakistan, low rank soldier. So these are the differences. The police in Pakistan is under resourced, underfunded, but at the same time we must criticize and condemn the uh, role and negligence of police, which has contributed towards the distortion of their image. For instance, I don't want to share because that is an open secret, that whenever the name police of Pakistan comes to our mind, what comes the first word? Everyone knows, and I will be looking forward that you should be sharing your observations uh, with regard to this video, and your comments regarding policing structure and policing system of Pakistan, and you compare the two, and share your observations and thoughts. Thank you.